Oh, it is cold in here. G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kaitlyn and I'm an American learning to live down under here in beautiful Sydney, Australia. I've been living in Australia for about 6 months now, so today I wanted to share some of the things that I actually really regret about my first 6 months living here in Australia. I know there are a lot of expats out there who have moved and had some major regrets. Maybe they thought that the first 6 months living abroad would be this absolute wonderful fairy tale adventure, and they were just a little bit let down in those first 6 months. So today I wanted to share 8 things that I regret my first 6 months living in Australia. The first thing is letting the weather get to me and not traveling around as much as I would have liked to. I had so many vlog and video ideas planned, going to the CBD, going to Bondi Beach, maybe doing walks around either my neighborhood or close to the CBD, just a little bit more local travel in general, and I really let the bad weather this summer get the best of me. It has been a very wet summer over here on the east coast of Australia. We've all heard about the floods from all the way up in Queensland, all the way down the coast, and we were hit with a lot of rain this year in New South Wales. It felt like it was raining almost every day here for a while. January and February especially were so wet. There was so much rain that it made it tough to go out. It made it tough to make any plans. And on top of that, the weather forecasts were never the most predictable. It might say that there would be an 80% chance of rain, and then it would rain for about 10 minutes and be fine the rest of the day. So it really made planning anything outdoors difficult this summer. So because I don't live very close to the city, I would rely on these weather apps to see whether or not I would be able to go into the city or go into the beach. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it looked like it was going to rain every single day over here. And on top of that, it did rain a lot, so it made planning really, really difficult. I wasn't able to make a lot of the videos that I wanted to for you guys my first 6 months here. There were some vlogs that I wanted to do, and honestly, I really just let the weather dictate what I did in my first 6 months, which meant that I really didn't get the chance to go out and enjoy my new home as much as I would have liked to in that first 6 months. Somebody wants to say hello. So here's one of my little filming buddies. Hi everybody, say hello to Ginger. She doesn't really like getting picked up that much, so I will put her down. And the second thing that I really regret is not listening to more Australian radio or TV. And I am not endorsing sitting on the couch, becoming a complete couch potato and just binge watching Netflix. But I do regret not listening to the Australian news a little bit more and listening to Australian radio a little bit more. Australia has a huge music scene that the rest of the world doesn't really get to see all that much, and I know pretty much no Australian music, at least nothing really beyond AC/DC. There are so many amazing Australian artists out there who I might have heard one song on the radio at one point going through the shops, and that's been about it. So I do regret not listening to Australian radio a little bit more now that I'm here. I might start tuning in a little bit now, but I really wish that I had listened to the radio more when I first moved over here. And on top of that, watching the Australian news, watching Australian TV, I feel like I know so little about what's going on in Australia, even though I live here, because I don't watch the news that much, and that could be a personality thing. That could just be dealing with the horrible news outlets that were over in the States that kind of scarred me just a little bit, and now I'm very weary of listening to any sort of news programming. But I wish I had a little bit more broad, general knowledge of what is going on in Australia right now. Politically, economically, I feel like I'm just not able to have these kinds of conversations, especially with family and friends back home who are curious about what might be going on in Australia right now. I can sit there and talk to them about the housing markets and the housing issues, but I don't know enough facts and statistics to really pull that sort of data out of the air. Everything's anecdotal, everything is from third and fourth party sources. So I do wish I had spent a little bit more time my first 6 months in Australia watching the news, paying closer attention to it, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, skimming through the headlines, seeing what's really most important, what's local, what I really need to know. So yeah, my first 6 months here, I really wish that I had listened to Australian radio and TV more. third thing on this list is not starting a meetup group. So for anybody who isn't familiar with MeetUp, this isn't a sponsored video. MeetUp is a website that gives you the chance to meet locals who have the same type of interest that you do, whether it be art or gaming or language. There are so many groups out there on MeetUp that it seems like it's almost impossible not to find at least one group that you would want to be a part of. I met some of my best friends back home through a local Philadelphia romance writing meetup group. I absolutely loved going to those meetings, and there was nothing like that over here when I moved over. There was a romance readers book club that I was going to go to one of their meetings. I couldn't make it that time, so I'm like, okay, I'll go next month. And the group has been on hiatus ever since, and there's been no meetings since February. So I really wish I had taken the initiative to at least start a meetup group, whether it was another romance reader book club or a local romance writing group over here. I feel like there's so many writing groups, but so many of them are based towards things like memoirs or science fiction. And romance writing is really such a different kind of writing and a different kind of style that it's looked down on by a lot of other writers, even though it really shouldn't be. It's actually the biggest selling genre fiction in the world. Yeah, now it's getting cold. I feel like people are a little bit less willing to go and venture out for these kinds of meetup groups. So I do wish I had started one a few months ago when things were a little bit warmer, even if it was kind of rainy. And I might still start that meetup group, I don't know, but I really wish that I had joined at least one meetup group and actually met with them while I was here for my first 6 months. And the fourth thing I regret is not taking pole classes. I had put on my 2022 vision board that I wanted to be able to invert, which does take quite a lot of upper body strength. I used to do pole fitness back in the States before COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I'd actually moved neighborhoods, so I wasn't able to go to that old studio and gyms were closed. So I haven't been able to really do it since the beginning of 2020, and it is something that I loved doing. It's something that I missed. I did one trial class here, and even though I did really enjoy the class, it's a little bit farther away. It would be like a 25-minute walk to get there and back every time. It's a little bit pricey. I mean, if you think the average gym membership is probably like $30 a month, this is about $30 a class. And on top of that, I have lost pretty much any conditioning that I had before. I have practically no upper body strength. Watching me do a push-up is a joke. Like, I would be the perfect example of what not to do when you're doing a push-up. But nonetheless, I really wish that I had taken up pole classes when I first moved over here. It's a great type of fitness. It's really good movement. It does build your core muscles, your upper body muscles. And it's just fun. These are amazing communities. They are mostly women, and it's kind of great to see women genuinely encouraging women, not that sort of like fake encouragement that you see a lot on social media. Those types of environments are genuinely supportive, they're encouraging, and people there are just generally really nice, friendly, supportive people. So I do wish that I had joined an actual pole class and had a steady pole fitness routine when I moved over here. I might be doing that in the next couple of months, I'm still not sure, but it is something that I really regret not doing in my first 6 months. So if you like this video, or if you at least like seeing one of my cats in one of these videos, hit the like and subscribe button down below to join our little Amer-Australian family. I post on Mondays and normally Thursdays about the differences between American and Australian culture and the overall process of learning to live down under. The fifth thing I regret is not unpacking everything I brought over with me sooner. I'm not exaggerating when I say I probably bought about 24 boxes of stuff over from the States, and that's everything from clothes to sentimental items to food. There are still like 2 or 3 boxes that are just kind of sitting there because I know what's in them at least, and I don't really have a home for these things just yet. It's mostly food. But I really wish I hadn't taken so long to unpack everything when I moved over here. I was kind of going through like a box here and there. I think I did like 5 boxes in my first couple days, and then it was just slowly a box here and there. I really wish I had just taken either an entire day or an entire weekend if I needed to, because I wasn't working my first month when I came over here. My job didn't start till January. So I wish I had taken the time to just unpack everything, see what I had, unloaded things that I kind of realized I'm not going to need when I get over here, hang up all of my clothes, and really make this feel like my home, It's one of those struggles when you're first moving in with somebody in the first place, is if you're moving into their place, you kind of need to find a way to make it both of yours and not just theirs where you're just living there. So I think being able to unpack and put everything away right away would have really helped me feel like this was our place, our home, my new home, instead of just feeling like I had moved into Mark's home. One of the things that I really regret is just not unpacking and unboxing everything and putting everything away when I first moved over here. This next one kind of ties into it a little bit, but while I wasn't working, I really wish I had taken more time to go outside of our house into the yard and really clean up the outside and inside of the home. I'm not saying that our house was dirty by any means, but I feel like when you're moving somewhere new, it really does help to go through and clean up. Clean everything, go through the rooms, see what it's like, see what the rooms really feel like. It's one thing if you're walking around and you spend most of the time in like the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, and the bedroom. But there's outside the house as well. There's our yard. We have such a cute, friendly dog. I absolutely love Claire to pieces, and I would go out there and spend a little bit of time with her. But it was always within like the confines of the front of our driveway. I never really went outside the yard up until about 2 months ago. I didn't realize how big the actual backyard was because I had just never gone out there. So while I was off of work, I really wish I had just taken time to go and explore our own house for a little while. Yes, I know we're renting, we don't own this house, but I really wish I had just taken the time to explore all of the surroundings within the home, not just a couple of rooms in it. It took months and months to unpack and unbox everything and then move things around into rooms where we were both comfortable with it. And I really wish that that was something that I had done up front in December when I first moved over here, so that way things could feel like I was at home a little bit sooner. Mark was amazing and so supportive and patient throughout this entire process. I know I was probably very, very frustrating at times, asking to move things around and giving suggestions about moving things that have been in the same place for well over a year and a half before I got here. But he was very patient, very supportive. But I do wish that I had done all this up front in that first month, kind of just bit the bullet, grabbed the bull by the horns, whatever euphemism you want to use, and dealt with it. You want? What's the matter, girl? She came over again. She who does not like being picked up is coming over for attention. When you see something on the wall? I know, you don't like being picked up. What's with this sudden, like, jumping up and trying to get attention? Huh? Are you cold? And I'm almost done the video, okay? As soon as I'm done, I'll put the heater on and then you can be all warm and toasty. The seventh thing that I regret is not starting a healthier daily routine when I moved over here. So I know that my word of the year was movement, and I feel like I haven't been moving as much as I really wanted to. Again, part of that is letting the weather dictate what I did, not starting that pole fitness class like I wanted to. I feel like I really had a place in my mental health that was holding me back that first 6 months. I don't know if it was just a fear of starting something new, a fear of being rejected. I don't know what it could possibly be. But those first 6 months, I really felt something inside me holding me back from doing what I really wanted to do. And part of that is just starting a genuinely healthier lifestyle. I had such an unhealthy lifestyle during COVID, between quarantines and being locked down and working from home and having all this processed American junk food by me. It was so easy for things to kind of get out of control and for me to completely not care about my health over in the States. Over here, I wanted to start a healthier lifestyle, and honestly, I've been doing the opposite of that. I've actually gained about 5 kilos since I moved over here, which I do really want to lose. I feel less motivated, like I don't want to get up in the mornings like I did when I first moved over here. So I really do want to start a healthier daily routine now, but I really wish that I had the willpower, the motivation to do it sooner. If I had started a healthier routine, especially with this new work from home position that I have, if I had really implemented this back in February when I started, I would be miles ahead of where I am right now. So this week alone, hopefully this is something I could stick to, because you need a lifestyle change. You can't do crash diets in order for things to really work. So hopefully adding in a half-hour walk every day around lunch like I've been doing, monitoring what I eat a little bit more closely. Not eating carbs at dinner, or at least not as much as I did before. No more pasta or mashed potatoes at dinner, because really, who needs all of that carb heavy food a couple hours before you go to bed? Unless you're one of those people who works out really late at night, or somebody who works out right before you go to bed, you don't need all those extra carbs right before you go to sleep. So there's all these little changes that I'm trying to make to be a little bit healthier. And these are things that I wish I had started a few months ago. But at least I'm glad I'm starting them now, and not in 6 months from now with a things I regret in my first year video. And this last one is something that fortunately isn't applicable now, but I really regret not having flights or solid plans to either go back home or go on a holiday with Mark. Moving over here, I didn't really start feeling homesickness until like February, and it would slowly creep its way in, whereas now I am starting to feel it so much more. And I really wish that we had solid plans for when I would be going back to the States, when I would be able to book flights home, when I'd be able to see family again, or at least when we'd be able to go on holiday. And I'm very, very excited that we are going to Hawaii at the end of July and into August this year. I cannot wait. We have been waiting literally years to be able to go on holiday together. It seemed like every time we tried, literally it's like the universe would get in the way. Mark was in a motorbike accident the day before his flight out to Philly. We had plans to go to Spain together in May of 2020, which obviously didn't work out. We wanted him to come over in July of 2020, and obviously that didn't work out. So this is the first actual holiday trip that we are going on together to Hawaii at the end of July. I'm really, really excited, and we loosely have plans to go over to the States the following July in 2023 to go see my family. We're really hoping to be able to spend 2 to 3 weeks over there, spend a good solid week just with friends and family, relaxing, giving Mark the chance to see everybody and meet everybody, to give my parents that little bit of a chance to kind of catch up with me and spend some quality like mother and father-daughter time, because I know that my parents do genuinely miss me. I see it whenever I call them on video chats. I know that they do really, really miss having me at home. Plus, there are places around the States that we'd like to travel together as well. We want to go up to New York. I've been to New York, Mark hasn't. We want to go to DC. I've been to DC before, but it was for like a really quick one-day trip. Mark wants to see that as well. And we both want to go out to Chicago. And yes, like 90% of the reason we're going out there is for Chicago pizza, but it looks like it's completely worth it. If you know any good places in Chicago, if anyone's traveled to Chicago, because most of my audience is Australian, let me know in the comments down below, what places do we absolutely need to see? Chicago, New York, and DC if you've ever been. If you've been to Honolulu and Hawaii, let me know what to see down below. We are more than happy to see what suggestions you guys have, because even though we've both traveled a little bit, we are not huge world travelers. We are very open to any suggestions that people have. But I think part of the reason I was so homesick in those first 6 months was because I didn't have anything like this planned. I didn't have anything like this to look forward to. Like, I could actually just feel like something in my soul lift up a little bit as I'm talking about these trips. I'm so genuinely excited to go to Hawaii, to be able to go to Philly next year. I feel like that was one of the reasons why I started feeling so homesick so early on, was because I didn't have anything solid planned. We were planning to go to the States around Christmas, but unfortunately with my visa and how long visa processing does take, I am not going to be able to leave Australia, or at least not in December, because if I'm not onshore, I risk losing my current visa, my bridging visa won't kick in, and then I basically lost the application and the fee for my following visa. I'd be out so much money, we'd be out so much time and effort. It would be honestly an absolute nightmare that is 100% not worth the risk for me to leave in December. So even though I'm gonna have to wait probably another year to see my parents, to see my family, it is something that I'm so looking forward to. We're going to spend as much time with them as we can and make the absolute most out of that trip over to Philly next year. So that's it for this video, you guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button down below to join our little Amer-Australian family. I post on Mondays and normally Thursdays about the differences between American and Australian culture and the overall process of learning to live down under. My name's Kaitlyn, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!